Bienvenidos al episodio número 26 de American Spaces on Air. El episodio que verán a continuación es muy especial, pues fue grabado el día viernes 13 de enero junto a nuestro invitado Melecio Estrella, director artístico de la compañía de danza vertical estadounidense Bandaloop. Bandaloop estuvo presente en Chile los días viernes 13 y sábado 14 de enero para participar como parte de la programación de Teatro a Mil y también con el patrocinio de la Embajada de los Estados Unidos. Esperamos que disfruten esta conversación en la que aprenderemos mucho más sobre esta interesante compañía de danza. Welcome everyone once more to American Spaces on Air, a podcast brought to you by the American Space at Instituto Chileno Norteamericano in Santiago and the American Academy of Science and Technology at Universidad de Talca, with the collaboration of the United States Embassy in Santiago and the American Spaces Network all across Chile. Today we have a very different program. This is the first time that we have a guest in front of us. For the longest time we've been having 20 episodes, more than 20 episodes by now, and we have all of our guests online. So it is a refreshing, a new adventure to have our guests in person.
So good, yeah.
So today with us is Melecio Estrella. He is the artistic director of Bandaloop, and he's based in Oakland, in California. He is committed to advancing equity, access, environmental, and social justice. Melecio believes that dance and art making plays a vital role in health and in the health of individuals and communities and societies. So how are you? How have you been?
I'm doing great. I love Santiago. It's a vibrant city, and I feel, there's something that feels very familiar, though this is my first time here. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so Bandaloop is performing in Chile as part of Teatro Mil's programming for their 30th anniversary. And with the sponsorship of the Embassy of the United States, who is also commemorating the 200 years of binational relations between Chile and the United States. And as I understand, Bandaloop is also celebrating 30 years,
That's
right?
right, yeah.
Okay, so my first question to you is, how do you feel starting the year as part of so many overlapping celebrations?
Well, dance in itself is a celebration. Every moment of movement that we get to live in an artistic moment. Children dance, we all dance, everybody. It is a celebration for me. So being in an overlapping celebrations, acknowledging relationships that are built over so many years, acknowledging that our company, has dancing in mountains and in cities for 30 years. Is to start the year like this is just so exciting, and it's a difficult time in the world, right? And I think the collaborations that we do with each other in our company, but then that we get to do across borders, and then especially the collaborations we do with buildings, with architecture, with natural sites, with mountains. These collaborations, they give us hope in hard times. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And for the people who still doesn't know or haven't seen a performance, a Bandaloop
Sure.
performance, could you tell us what Bandaloop is, or what are some of your vision, your values?
Of course. So Bandaloop started in 1991, actually. It was founded by a woman named Amelia Rudolph, an American who was from Chicago, but also grew up part of her childhood in India, in the Himalaya. Her parents were professors of political science, specializing in India. So she grew up sort of transcontinental, living in both places, and was a dancer, a very dedicated dancer. And then around the late 80s and early 90s, she began to climb and got really into climbing in California in the Sierra Nevada, the mountain range, beautiful, Yosemite, and realized when she was climbing that she can mix the two art forms, dance and climbing, and how can they feed each other and elevate, literally elevate,
Okay.
elevate the dance And so that was in 1991 that she started. And so over the last 30 years, we've been refining this technique, both a culture of safety, our safety and rigging techniques, and also, of course, the dance vocabulary, the movement vocabulary, bringing that celebration of life in dance and also performance and theatrical craft to these spaces. Maybe it would be mountains, you know, taking a big group of people to a cliff, to a climbing area, and using that as the stage or letting that become the stage. Most of our work now is in urban spaces, so we will go to skyscrapers, to large buildings, to glass towers, or even to smaller buildings, historic sites, and bring our dance to the walls of this site. And what's very special as a dance company about Bandaloop is the radical access that really everybody, it's for everybody. Business people who are just on their way to work see it, people who live on the street see it, and we invite conversation. So it's very public, and it's about enlivening public spaces and bringing energy and artfulness to the places that we share.
Perfect. So at this moment, I have only had the opportunity to see your presentations online, but I'm going to experience one of your performances today. And they are, what I've seen online is just simply awesome.
Thank you.
So what would you define as the main ingredient or the key component in Bandaloop's performances?
Oh, the main ingredient. Wow. I mean, I think there's two main ingredients. I think, of course, the dance, and the craft of human movement, and the, you know, how we artfully embody our anatomy. You know, this body is, you know, real. And also, you know, we come from dance lineages and sport athletic lineages. So that people might think ballet, or they might think contemporary dance and climbing. But when you mix and find the edges of all of these forms, something new happens. So, you know, main ingredient being dance, and the other main ingredient really being dreaming, like the expansive imagination. So when you're looking up at a Bandaloop show, you're seeing bodies flying through the air, and it really is, you know, seems like a universal human dream of flight, of the body in flight. That's another ingredient that's very powerful. So those two things mixed with the ideas and the content and the themes of the show, and then also the other main ingredient, there's many main ingredients, I guess, is the architecture. Not only the physical architecture of the building, but the histories of the building. That we are here in the Plaza de Constitución. We're here on the Ministerio de Hacienda and the Ministerio de Justicia, both buildings which have such thick histories in themselves and mean something, you know, I would never know as an American what this place means to a Chilean, what the recent history has happened there, what, you know, further down, you know, and in the 200-year relationship of the US and Chile, me and as an American, I'm coming and just learning, you know, I'm just open to find out. But I get to find out through an artistic process, through an artistic lens that lets it be poetic, that lets it dream, that is dreaming alive, right? When it's very, you know, these sites, these government buildings we're dancing on are very real. They're very thick with political histories and political moments every day. And so, yeah, when all the ingredients come together, there's so many entry points for people, whether they be the buildings every day, the dream of flight, or the creativity of the human body. Yeah.
Perfect. And Bird Strike. Bird Strike is the name of this performance that you are bringing for the first time to Chile. So we would like to know how long has it been in development, and what is necessary to produce such a performance?
Yeah. Well, the conversation to actually work with Teatro a Mil to bring a performance to this festival this year is very long-standing. Maybe, you know, 1 year, 2 years, you know, in the lead up. It takes a lot to orchestrate bringing us here. And the actual idea of bird strike maybe came about six months ago for me. Bird strike is actually the technical term. So we dance on buildings, big glass towers sometimes, and we're dancing on glass windows. And oftentimes people will ask us, how do you dance on a window without breaking it? And we say that these windows are engineered for bird strike. So we think about, when birds fly very fast into the building and hit the glass,
Yeah.
and the glass can withstand that. And so it's also when birds fly into airplane engines. So it's quite, it's almost a sad image, right? To think about bird death in this way. But I'm very inspired also by the poetics of what a bird strike is, because we've also been learning about this undercurrent of theme of the show is migration, and the migratory path of birds on the Pacific Flyway, all the way from Alaska in the U.S. down to here in Chile in Patagonia, right? So, and everywhere in between. So from San Francisco to Santiago, we kind of traveled on this Pacific Flyway of the birds, and I'm thinking about how long birds have been, for millennia, have been migrating this pathway all the way from where we are in California to where we are here today in Santiago. And so that time frame of bird migration, and then, we see this new tower here that's come up, right? This new building that maybe takes 4 or 5 years to build, right? And so that thousands of years of migration, and then in 5 years, a new building grows up. And then, what happens when the bird flies and into the building, and the possibility of it might be a nesting site as well. One of the we work with a composer named Destiny Wolf, who's singing live here, and she wrote this gorgeous, gorgeous song, aria, to these themes. And there's one line that kind of really holds a lot of meaning for me, and she says, "Aquí la ventana reflecta mi alma," right? So she's like, does the bird fly in and die? Does the bird fly into the window and see their own self in the glass? Can the building reflect ourselves? Do our city spaces reflect our souls still? And also, when we're dancing in Bandaloop all over the world, we're on these big high skyscrapers, and we do encounter bird nests and insects. And so I'm thinking about cities as interspecies cohabitation sites as well.
Absolutely.
And then underneath all of that, of course, is very personal migration stories of our family. As you said, you're from Venezuela. You have a migration story that got you here. My family across the Pacific Ocean, from the Philippines to San Francisco. Members of our company have been sharing their own family's migration stories, which then feeds into the script writing, the songwriting, and also the choreographic process. So it's all very layered. I forgot your original question, but I'm so sorry.
You're still answering it.
Yeah, okay, good.
So yeah, that's perfect. We just wanted to know what the process was like, and this is all part of it.
So we take a lot of ideas. Because of course we can go onto the building and create a beautiful dance just with our bodies and in the moment and in the architecture. But for me, it's really important to bring in human stories and the actual human voice. And in this time when, political moments all over the world are so heated, borders are such a really intense theme in our everyday lives and our families, and very painful, and also the possibility of crossing a border, right? And so for me to be able to have an artistic process where I can learn about bird migration, I can learn about borders, I can learn personal stories of the people that I'm with, is such a gift.
Absolutely.
And we think about birds, just flying over. Human borders mean nothing to birds. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so since you're mentioning that it is so important to get to know all of these stories and to also send those messages, nowadays it is very important to promote that every person can become an agent of change.
Yes.
So how would you define the impact that dance has on people, especially on your commitment to inclusion, diversity, equity, and accountability and access?
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that question. Well, dance, as you know, I've also, the whole time I've been making dances as a dance artist, I've also taught. I'm also a teacher. It's really great that, with the collaboration with the festival and the U.S. Embassy, we were able to offer workshops here. But really the act of dancing is transformational in itself. Whether it's like you go to a studio, you train and dance, or you go out to the club, or you just dance in the morning when you wake up in your kitchen. But this process of allowing a sort of joy in the body is primary to transformation. When we do that together, when we come into a room and allow each other and say yes to the body, all kinds of bodies, that coming together and affirming each other, just a physical form, is saying, yes, you have a space in the world, a space of celebration, and that starts in your body. That in itself is very simply transformational. And then creating curriculum and pedagogy around that so that we can share it with children, with adults, in university settings, or in kind of community or recreational settings, as we say, and really bring this as a utility to people, this idea that the body is a site, that a body is a site. Our bodies are sites of celebration, of feeling, and affirming our humanity. And that we can do that with each other. And in the same way of crossing borders or seeing across borders, that our differences we celebrate, and our differences are really foregrounded in the body, and it's also, that right now, I know in the States, mental wellness, brain health, physical health, right, and disease, there's medicine that we take, and I do believe that dance is a sort of medicine and a sort of a pathway, of course, to physical wellness and exercise, but also mental wellness,
Absolutely.
Emotional wellness, and so that's the level that we work. And then hopefully when we are creating these performances around ideas of migration, around ideas of flocking, what does it mean to be a part of a flock, around ideas of celebrating nature, protecting nature, learning from nature, accepting ourselves as nature. If I can create conversations around these ideas, I think that also will help transform societies, right? If we're just, we bring these conversations up. And often in Bandaloop, we're doing these performances where, because there's no ticket price, it's free, thousands of people will come. So I feel like the possibility for impact is there with the themes of the show, if I can get them across in some kind of poetic, heartful, but very also sort of a logical way. Yeah.
Absolutely. And yeah, I agree 100% on the fact that just dancing, even without being a professional dancer, makes you feel good.
Yeah.
And you don't know it until you get to experience it. Mm-hmm. So it's also very important to give people the chance to experience dancing together, or to share something like dancing as an art form. With this in mind, a lot has changed in every aspect of society since Bandaloop was created. So what are some of the changes or the adjustments that Bandaloop has gone through its history.
Yeah, well, one thing that Bandaloop always does, and is the strength that we bring around the globe, is our adaptability. So we have to be in relationship to what is going on in the moment and be ready for change. And also dance is all about change, right? It's just like being in the body and working in transition always. The movement is always transitioning, always changing. What I've noticed actually in our work is just I've been in the company for 20 years, and the technological advancement that's happened that supports dance making, anywhere, it's just as simply as like an iPad now, from before when we weren't, we didn't have videos on our phones. We didn't have a place where we can, in one hand, have so much music in the palm of our hand.
If you think about it, 30 years ago, we didn't even have internet.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
Right. Yeah, it was just the beginning. And so how we share our work over the internet, as you said, people have access to Bandaloop videos now, almost wherever there's internet in the world. So this kind of, of course, like many fields, the availability and the access to the work has really shifted in the time that I've been doing this work. And at the same time, I would say our bodies respond to the way we use technology. So it really, the fact that we have these newer habits of the last 15 years of coming into our phones, and it caves our head forward and it brings our shoulders forward and we get neck problems, all of this also informs our students, the way we teach. And so how do we have to offer more exercises to open the front of the chest and to open the front of the throat, to let the head move into the back space, just to address how technology is changing our bodies.
That's so, yeah.
Yeah.
Those are some things that we usually don't think about because we take them for granted. They are in our everyday life. Okay, and we know that education is a big part of your outreach efforts and your mission as well. So what kind of programs does Bandaloop offer, and could a non-professional dancer ever participate in a Bandaloop performance?
Absolutely. We all love the work so much. It brings us so much joy. We just want to share it. We just want to, introduce people to what we do and give them an experience, because it's really fun. It's really fun. We give many kinds of workshops, from very simple on-the-ground movement, movement for wellness, dance technique for performance. So all those things happen on the ground. And then we also, of course, teach what we call bandalooping. We can make it into a verb, which is our methods of doing rope and harness dance, using rock climbing technology to get the body off the ground. So within our workshops, there's safety training, gear training, getting to know the equipment, and then of course getting off the ground. And then once you're off the ground, what are the techniques that both keep your body safe but allow for the most expressive possibilities? So over the last 30 years, we've been designing these workshops of how to share this work with, right now the youngest people we teach, I think, are 7 years old.
Wow.
All the way to, we had an 84-year-old student last year. So we work with all ages. And we're also collaborating with other dance companies in the sort of disability access world. So, and also climbers who are creating disability access in climbing guiding, to try to create, we're asking where are the limits to who can learn this work or who can enjoy this work, and how can we push those limits, stretch them skillfully, so we can, work with the disability community, work with the, other communities who don't usually do this kind of thing.
That's amazing, and I'm sure that's something that a lot of your participants enjoy a lot.
Yeah.
And I think I saw a video recently where you said that you are renovating your spaces.
We are, yes. Yeah, we have our home studio in Oakland, California. We are doubling its size, and also doubling the programming, the educational programming and it's a big time of growth for us as a company because we're still touring around the world, still creating a lot of live performances. At the same time, our education team is growing in a big way this year right now. So we'll open our new studio in Oakland, or our renovated studio in Oakland, hopefully in May of this year, to be able to offer more programs and create a space for dance, other artists, other dancers to come. Because art spaces where we are have become very scarce. The cost of living in the Bay Area is very high for artists in the San Francisco Bay Area. So we're hopefully doing our part to create a space where artists can work, artists can be, where artists belong.
Perfect. Could you please tell us more about the environmental activism that Bandaloop does, and how do you guys link communities with their local nature?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we do workshops outside. So especially while our studio is being renovated, we cannot teach there. So we have to bring our classes. All of them go outside, and they are in urban spaces. But we also believe that nature exists in the urban space, and that being outside, being in the sunlight, in the rain, in the wind, with the birds or the insects around, that's all part of connecting with the environment. So we like to not say that only going out into nature is a way to experience and connect with the environment around us, the ecology, to affirm ecological connections through the experience of our work. We can do that anywhere. And we do have workshops that we take people into the mountains and offer a mountaineering experience with our riggers who, our safety managers, our riggers are very experienced climbers, mountaineers, but also work in rope access industries and also theatrical rigging inside theater. So it's a very big mix. So we can take our safety team and go and create a mountain experience for people who really want to immerse in rock climbing, in dancing, and in that creation. Artistically, in recent years, since I became artistic director at the beginning of 2020, it is my priority to lift up environmental issues, one of my priorities, through the art making. It just gives me an opportunity to learn about these issues, to research. And also my husband, my spouse, is a professor of climate and society at UC Berkeley. So he works at Energy and Resources Group and also at the Lawrence Berkeley National Lab, doing research on climate and society, and also the usability and co-production of science with stakeholders and managers who are dealing with climate adaptation right now. And so this is our household, right? It's important for me, being a father and being a concerned human, to lift up environmental issues, to create opportunity of conversation and idea exchange around how do we live in this time of climate crisis.
Muy bien, eso ha sido todo en el episodio número 26 de American Spaces on Air. Queremos expresar nuestro más profundo agradecimiento a Melecio Estrella, director artístico de Bandaloop, y a Thomas Kavanagh, director ejecutivo de Bandaloop, por el tiempo que nos dedicaron para tener esta agradable conversación con ellos este día. Y les dejamos invitados a seguir nuestra programación para conocer más sobre las actividades que los American Spaces traen para ustedes, así como también futuros episodios de American Spaces on Air. Muchas gracias y hasta luego.